Should we just hold connected? Good morning. Sorry for keep you waiting. Good to see you and your colleagues here.
Thank you. Thank you. Such an honor to see you again, Your Excellency.
Yeah. Last time I don't recall how long back it was, but I think it was on board a plane or somewhere else.
Yeah, I was just telling that story.
Emirates, yes, it's cricket team.
You got it, and I just said I still want cricket pitches in all 34 provinces for those young men to have hope and fair play for the future. So peace through agriculture and peace through cricket.
That's true.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, please. Much. Time is yours.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency and colleagues for your time. So basically, I would like to just briefly introduce myself. I'm Hamid Ansari. I'm working for Roots of Peace based in Somerville. Mr. Yasser Ahmadzai, he is the director of Afghanistan Institute of Peace. Ms. Heidi Kuhn is the CEO and founder of Roots of Peace. Yes. And we have got Mr. Masood Omer. He is based in London. He's the director of the Center of Policies for Afghanistan over there. And also
Assalamu alaikum, Doctor.
Assalamu alaikum. Tashakkur.
And also Mr. Farhad Wasim. He is also the CEO of the Center of Policies in London. So yes, and so basically, Ms. Heidi, floor is yours to open the meeting. Actually.
Well, thank you so much, Your Excellency and honored dignitaries. I greet you from San Rafael, California, and such an honor to be on this call with leaders.
So by the way, what time is it? It's very early. Yeah?
Morning, 4:30 a.m.
I was hoping that you're talking from East Coast at least.
I told your colleagues I would wake up at any time for Afghanistan, and especially you, Your Excellency. So, but I just sincerely thank you all for this time and this really historic moment. I had the honor of meeting you actually a few days prior to the time that we met aboard at the Emirates Airlines. And Your Excellency, that's when you were leading the United Nations International Landmine Awareness Day at the Palace. And you brought in those dear children from Nangarhar who had lost their limbs and arms and lives. And that moment will forever be in my heart. And 23 years ago, in this same living room, we're all sheltered in place in my home, it was when the late Princess Diana was tragically killed on August 31st, just a week from now in 1997. And when I learned that we live in a world today with 70 million landmines, 60 million landmines in 60 countries, I just thought, what could I possibly do to alleviate the suffering? And what began as a Mines to Vines global toast to peace has rippled around the world, and with a vision of replacing the scourge of landmines with bountiful vineyards and orchards worldwide. And this cannot be more important business in a country that remains today the most heavily mined country in the world is Afghanistan. And conversely, it has a country rich with agriculture, 80% of the land. And to restore the Garden of Central Asia by removing these insidious landmines. As I was waiting for this call, I was looking at Tolo News and very tragically share with you that just a few moments ago, 7 civilians died in Ghazni, 3 of them women, 2 of them children. So once again, this conversation carries serious levity in my heart. And since that Mines to Vines toast, I have written a book that has just come out called Breaking Ground. The forward is by Her Majesty Queen Noor, Nancy Pelosi, Cindy McCain, Dr. Jane Goodall. And it's the story how to take an idea and turn it into reality. With the support of your country and mine, we have planted over 5 million fruit trees in all 34 provinces and impacted over 1 million farmers and families. And with the interview I had with His Excellency President Ghani, he said in an interview with ABC 7 News anchor Cheryl Jennings that Roots of Peace has contributed 2% to the GDP of the nation. We are a humanitarian nonprofit, and with funding from USAID, USDA, DOD, European Union, and the Asian Development Bank, I have managed over $100 million under contract in Afghanistan. And what we have done is not only planting the fruit trees, which took a decade to grow, but now I am managing in the midst of probably the most important harvest that I can imagine. And it's getting these fresh fruits that we've now, with funding from our USAID CHAMP program, into cold storage refrigeration and packaged properly, and through the Hamid Karzai International Airport cold storage facility that Roots of Peace built last year. We're using the air corridor as well as borders through Torkham and Spinbaldak to get these fresh fruits to market. Now, Roots of Peace has also taken the agricultural exports, again with funding from USAID and our partners, from $250 million in 2014 to over $1.4 billion this year. And we're just on target to do more. But it's essential that these borders remain open, that we are able, they're not open one day, closed the next. I can't get our trucks and fresh fruits, but if we can come with these baskets of fresh fruits, you know, in a symbolic effort like the Kabuli Wallas, and have the engagement on both sides, not from a political standpoint, that's not my business, but from an economics of peace is really what I'm here to stand for. I've had the honor of speaking and meeting with many around the world. When we brought the Afghan traders to New Delhi last year, I was honored to be the first American to receive the Gandhi Award on the 150th anniversary of Gandhi. On October 2nd, they also will be launching my book in New Delhi. And on September 10th in Pakistan, Ambassador Mohammed Sadiq, I've had the honor of being introduced to him via Zoom on multiple occasions, and he has finished my book and has agreed to launch the book on September 10th. And again, that's a day before 9/11. We all know the tragedy of that day, but I would love to work with you and with the CAPS, incredible think tank here on the line. They're really this inaugural historic call together to really use the finest minds of Afghanistan all over the world to help provide solutions. We're in the business of peace, the economics of peace. And once the ink dries on the peace treaties and the peace talks, we need to get to business. And it's jobs, jobs, jobs for these young people who will be returning back to Farah, Baglis, Nangarhar, Helmand, Kandahar. I'm in the midst of the harvest of fresh pomegranates from Kandahar, apples, apricots, almonds from Ghazni, Wardak, Logar. The rolling harvest will then go up to Shamali Plains with fresh grapes, cherries, and Badakhshan, and of course, beautiful saffron in Herat. So Roots of Peace received, because we have run, according to USAID, one of the most successful agricultural programs in the recent history of Afghanistan from 2010 to 2020. It was called CHAMP, which is the acronym for Commercial Horticultural Agricultural Marketing Program. I know it's a mouthful, but we call it CHAMP. And Roots of Peace, we were attacked by the Taliban in a 4.5-hour gun battle. Tragic, tragic moment on March 28th, 2014. It was one of the most horrible moments of my entire life to listen to that live. And it was a defining moment for me, whether to give up or just stay in the game. And I chose the latter. We helped from that point on, with funding again from USAID, to take agricultural exports from Afghanistan from $250 million to $1.4 billion. Because of the success of this program, when I was in Afghanistan this past February 2020, we met with colleagues again in Kabul at the embassy, and Roots of Peace was proud to receive an additional $30 million to expand our programs. And then this past week, with the leadership of Hamid Ansari, who I've worked with and had the honor and privilege of working with for well over 12 years. I've watched him grow from a young man to graduating from the London School of Economics in a high...
To grow to a relatively old
Amazing.
man at the moment, yes.
Yes, yes. He didn't have any facial hair. He had no beard when I met him, so this is back. I can say that as a mother, but moving forward. But I cannot say he really represents the pride of Afghanistan. I have witnessed it with my own eyes. And I know there's many other young boys out there like Hamid who would only love the opportunity to seek an education. And in these remote areas, peace through agriculture is the most important aspect that we can be digging deeper for. With his leadership, with experience with UNDP, we have just received an additional $25 million this week from INL. And again, in places where we have been embedded for many years, we work with the local mullahs, we are transparent and we get the job done. We have the reputation not only for planting the trees on the former minefields, again, mines to vines, and these beautiful fresh grapes and raisins are now exported to new markets in UAE, India, Moscow. And I think if we can do this properly, again, the business of peace, business to business, we can provide the market linkages that are needed right now, not next year, not on white paper. We're in the midst of a harvest, and those borders from Afghanistan to Pakistan right now need to be consistent for the business so that the supply and the demand can be met from Afghanistan, the Kabuliwalas, the Garden of Central Asia that people know in India can be reliably, linked so that you have the dependable fresh fruits. And again, we focus not on the high value crops and the additional funds. We're taking that pomegranate, which may be sold for $1, and we're breaking it down into packaging, into earls, and we're selling it at $5, and we're teaching the Afghan farmers the importance of packaging, of branding, so that these fresh fruits are not brought over to Pakistan, branded, Pakistan grapes, sold back double. I mean, that was yesterday. We need to be smart. We need to be in the business of peace. And I thank you so much for the honor of sharing with you this important program. And, on the eve of the tragic death of Diana, may we turn minds to vines in the most heavily mined country in the world in honor of the family in Nangarhar and the dear family today, real time in Ghazni, who lost their life to insidious landmine UXO left behind.
Thank you. I cannot thank you enough, Heidi, for your work, your colleagues here in Afghanistan, and also your accomplishment and achievement in the region and beyond. Some part of your programs has reached every household in the country and has impacted the lives of the people directly. Hundreds of thousands of people, and very happy to learn in some details about the work that you have been doing, your colleagues, Mr. Ansari, Mr. Ahmadzai here, and also the fact that you have gained the trust of the people and also those who are willing to support. It's important. That is as a result of a lot of hard work, goodwill, and passion for work. Afghanistan, yes, you had visited Afghanistan in February. I was in a very different mood. We were in the midst of a very difficult political crisis. Luckily, that is now behind us, and hopefully we will be able to support your programs here in the interest of our own people, in the interest of changing the lives of the people. At the moment, while the war continues, and we are looking towards start of inter-Afghan negotiations in a few days' time, but those efforts of yours are important during the war, during the peace negotiations, and especially in post-peace economic development. the impact of your programs, Roots of Peace in Afghanistan, is seen and felt by many people here, and appreciated, and we are grateful. I will ask our colleagues to stay in touch with your colleagues on the ground and see if in any way and shape we can facilitate, we can help further. But meanwhile, looking forward to having your book.
Sure.
Yes?
Actually, I was about to bring it. But
he says that he was about to bring it. But, okay, I will send somebody with him to
formally present it to you.
Oh my God.
Your Excellency, I would like to formally, virtually present it to you. And I will send you a signed copy. And
okay. That will be great.
I hope it inspires many. It's a genuine story. You know, I'm not a politician. I'm not an ambassador. I'm a mother. And I'm now 23 years later, I'm now a grandmother from where a toast began right here in the living room of my home. So it is my honor and my privilege to thank you and to all of your colleagues. And I had the honor also, I may say, in July 30th to have the launch of my book with His Excellency Wais Barmak, who just a wonderful former Minister of Interior. And he's read the book, so maybe he'll share it with you in Kabul until Hamid gets
okay,
it.
I'll borrow it from him. Congratulations on the launch of a book. And by the way, who is playing piano in your...
Oh, and I've got a cello, a piano. Well, again, there's always music and joy and laughter in my home. And, you know, alhamdulillah, as you say, just thanks be to God in all faiths and all colors and all creeds. So I think we need more joy in our life. The world is suffering COVID-19, and I hope with that sense of empathy and understanding that we are all daughters and sons of Abraham. And the sooner that we can become friends once again across borders, I think the economics of peace, to see families begin to prosper, to have hope, you know, again, virtually, if I could come over there, as we bring these trucks across the borders on a sustained basis, to focus perhaps our camera lens, Tolo TV, and use the power of social media to see the success, and maybe, you know, mother to mother, to bring a basket of fresh fruit across the border so that the trucks may start to flow. That would be my dream as a mother, something symbolic, but something very real. It has to be grounded in peace. We have a track record, and I hope from this historic meeting today, as I've said to the CAPS dignitaries on the line, this is their first launch of their incredibly exceptional think tank, but Roots of Peace is there to listen to this group. We want them as an integral part of our organization. We don't want to come as an American organization into your country and tell you we have all the answers. We have learned from our mistakes. We in 2004, we introduced the trellis grapevines and brought in the wooden trellis posts that we are so familiar in the Napa Valley. And that first winter of that pilot project, they cut it down. And when I went back in the spring and asked them why they didn't listen to us, why did this would have worked? And they looked at me very blankly in the eye and said, Mrs. Kuhn, it was the coldest winter on record. If we didn't cut the wooden posts down, we would have frozen and our families would have had no food, warm food. So as a result, Roots of Peace listened to the Afghans. We introduced the cement trellis posts, and all throughout Afghanistan, these beautiful fresh grapes are lifted from the mounds. They're no longer sold on burlap sacks dragged to market during the hot sun, but with the funding that we've received from the various partners, we now have built cold storage refrigerations in places I visited, Mirbolchakot and others, and these proud farmers are professionally with corrugated boxes exporting these fresh fruits. The money comes back, the farmers choose to grow licit crops. Average farmer grows low-value crops such as wheat. It's $800 a year. Poppies, $1,200, with roots apiece, $4,000 to $5,000 a year. So it's just, you know, a business decision. It's the economics of peace and the choice of farmers to lift themselves up from the rubble, to feel that hope by turning swords into plowshares, spears into pruning hooks, so that nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore.
And thank you, if you have colleagues which have joined us from other parts of the world, if you want to say things, I'm at their service.
Thank you very much, Excellency. It's a great pleasure, Dr. Sip, for us as a small think tank based in London to have our first inaugural meeting addressing you from London. So what we do, we are a think tank, so we do researches, studies of different policy issues. One of the issues which we chose to focus was the issue of trade and transit between Afghanistan and Pakistan. And the reason we chose that was the fact that the peace talks, the success of peace talks and any initiative after the coming out of the agreement in terms of reintegration of the fighters into civilian life is dependent on expanding opportunities in the agriculture sector. So agriculture, I was working as an advisor with UNDP in 2004, launching the DDR program. The 80% of the reintegration opportunities in that program was in the agricultural sector. So if we do not address the issue of access to market, the issue of smooth transit routes, removing barriers to business, I think agriculture cannot, provide a sustainable livelihood for the fighters to join. So that is why we thought that the existing cooperation agreement between Pakistan and Afghanistan is not providing a robust mechanism for the two countries to move forward. So there is need for revisiting the content and also the implementation mechanism of that agreement known as APTA, which is outdated in content and also in terms of implementation. We believe that the impact of, as Heidi rightly said, ever closing border, so that needs to change. I think if border is closed and fruits are rotten behind the closed doors, so it's really, the impact is devastating on farmers. If we support farmers on Afghanistan side, but if they cannot export their products, I think it's not a sustainable initiative. So we need to address those challenges. So that is why we reviewed that and produced a very brief paper, which we hope that can lead and pave the way for more in-depth and proper studies of this issue, to engage stakeholders on both sides, to sit down and overcome their differences through talks. And we think that, I think the business interest on both sides needs to be engaged. In political and security decisions that lead to closure of the border. So that needs to also take into consideration the impact of the decision on business.
That's true.
So that is what we are doing, and that's the paper we have produced, which we would be happy to take it forward.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And just to add, Your Excellency, about the border issue, cross-border issue. So Ambassador Sidi, Ms. Heidi Q, was in touch with him, and so basically the issue is about the representation from the Afghan government. So that's something that basically they need some attention from our government, from senior level officials, so that we have a right.
You can raise it in details with Mr. Arsalai, and then we can follow it up.
Sure.
Okay.
So that's something that is important for us at the moment. And also, just to add, Roots of Peace also put a concept note on this cross-border issue, which I would like to share it with you as well. So, and as I said, if you have anything to add on the from the peace point of view.
Sure, actually, thank you so much, His Excellency, Dr. Saif. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. About Afghanistan Ministry of Peace, which we start our work from 2015 in Afghanistan. And then we try to reflect the Afghan diaspora's views also from other countries, because as a migration, they live in several countries. So we start to have representative in these countries. Now we have in 11 countries of the world our representative to Afghan diasporas. That somehow we have their ideas about the peace, and also to use their experiences about the peace. Actually, we were in several parts that we met about some mutual works. For example, at the PCA conference, we had some recommendations. And thank you at that time you were supporting us, and also the EU was supporting us to implement some of our recommendation, which was the exchange of experience. And if you remember, we meet in EU for the conference that the Northern Ireland representative camps and to share here. Yeah. So in this time, as there are a lot of different organizations that they are representing the government, Afghan government, but the first recommendation that we want, and we already shared with media just a week ago, which is that now the High Reconciliation Council, which is under your leading, and now it is established, so the other similar or duplicate organization should be removed or joined with this to be under one address and under one idea, because it will just instead of good working for peace, it will kindly destroy the peace process. So it is our suggestion to His Excellency President Ganitu, and also during the peace jirga we had also this recommendation to the peace jirga. And there are a lot of other ideas that we can actually, this scope of us, the Roots of Peace, the think tank in London, and also Afghanistan Institute of Peace here, because of on the idea that Masood Jan explained, we both work, because we already have a format here, which was running by the US Embassy in Kabul, Afghanistan-Pakistan Partnership Summit, and I'm the member for that too. It is a platform like Peace to Business, that how we can decrease these political issues through business and these kind of things. And also in part of youth, we can support you, that we will do our best for peace and reintegration ongoing process. So these are the things that we want to just say, that we are here for you in your service, and we will do our best. That what kind of orders that we can take from you, just all this network, three of us.
No, thank you. And our colleagues will follow up things in details. We can have regular exchanges as we move along in the High Council for National Reconciliation, or in terms of inter-Afghan negotiations, but in between we need to establish a sort of systematic contact, so we can help one another, because the idea is one. It's not two ideas. It helps the country, it helps peace, it helps people living with dignity, and it helps the economy of the people in all together, in one helps another. In that case, I can assure yourself and all colleagues of our full support.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Thank you. Great
Thank you.
honor.
Once again, this early in the morning, I would have arranged it differently with our colleagues, so you wouldn't have been tortured, but anyway, you have chosen to to be there. Good.
Always an honor and a pleasure, Your Excellency. I would wake up at any hour for Afghanistan, and if we can play some small part of this peace process, as you say, bringing dignity and peace through agriculture and prosperity to your deserving people, I'll wake up at any hour.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Tashakkur.
Tashakkur.
Tashakkur.